It's time once again for a powerful mix of fitness, focus, and philosophy. Philosophy? That's right. Kick back and get ready for your host. Wisdom keeps her fit mentally, squats keep her fit and fine physically. Yes, I said fine. Tune in and prepare to challenge your body and your mind with Professor Kristen Hester. You'll think better, you'll live smartly, and all thanks to Kristen teaching us right now how to squat wisely. And now here's Professor Kristen Hester.
Well, I am back again to discuss a topic today that is of interest to me personally, and I'm sure a lot of you out there will enjoy the topic as well. Many of us wrestle with procrastination. So I hope this episode will give you some tips, some nuggets of wisdom, some insight so you can try to tackle and possibly rid your life of your procrastinating ways. Like many of us, the guest who will come on today has had his own battles with procrastination. And so he wanted to find ways to defeat it, and not just defeat it, but live a more successful life. He really believes that procrastination is an enemy to our success. And so if you believe that, if you're ready and very fed up with your own way of, avoidance when it comes to your schedule and going after those things that you know are important, but you push them to the end of your to-do list for whatever reason, please get ready to enjoy this episode so we can defeat procrastination together.
Jordis A1 Solutions has a fitness solution just for you. For your personal training needs, we serve clients who reside in Atlanta, Georgia, and nearby cities. We also help clients to achieve their goals online as well. To inquire, visit Jordis.com. Jordis is Jortis.
Guys, you are listening to the Squat Wisely podcast, and today I am welcoming Dr. Herbert-Harris. I met him in a personal development group, and he's always sharing some great wisdom, great insights for your life, and I'm going to welcome him today to school us on procrastination. Welcome, Dr. Harris.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I look forward to it and like the work that you're doing.
I appreciate the work that you're doing. Before we dive into our topic, tell us a little bit about who is Dr. Harris and why is procrastination a topic of interest for you?
Well, professionally, I'm a retired attorney. I lived in New York many years and practiced law, did a lot of trial work and entertainment law. Then a trainer, a personal development trainer, and network marketing trainer. Network marketing has been one of those businesses that gave me the opportunity to retire from my law practice and do the things that I want to do. And so from that time until now, I've been writing books. We've written about 8 books and doing lots of personal development webinars and seminars, plus network marketing training and sales trainings.
Very good. And so why procrastination? Why is that a topic of interest for you?
Well, I'll tell you, it was a personal interest because I was a procrastinator. And I think most of us are at one point or another. And I found that I handled the big things, but I would often procrastinate about the little things. And one of the things about little things is that if you don't handle them, they can become big things later on. And so I was one who was not a serious procrastinator, but I experienced it enough to know that if I was going to move to the next level, I had better correct that. And so that's why I really focus on it. And then in my personal development seminars and webinars, if you say, what is the number one impediment to success? And it's procrastination. Nobody will ever say, I don't want to be a success. I'm not willing to do what it takes to become successful. But they will just not do it. It's like having a gym membership and you walk by every day and you look at all the machines and you never go in. But you feel good because you're paying for it every month. So that's why procrastination is a personal issue, and the fact that of all the things, of all the obstacles to success, I would say that procrastination is number one.
Definitely. You know, a lot of people argue when it comes to procrastination that we tend to procrastinate on things that we deem to be either less important or less of a priority. Would you argue that that's entirely true?
Many times, because there's serious procrastinators who, when they have a big task, they will just not do it. They'll find excuses. They'll find 1,000 reasons why they can't do it and they can't get started. And so, although we procrastinate about small things, it's amazing to see how people procrastinate about big things. I was talking to a friend in a major company in the area, and a person who was hired to handle a management position was told to do something very simple: pay the light bill. We don't have it on automatic. We just changed over some accounts. And so until we connect it up, you're going to have to just send a check in. And they procrastinated. So it was a simple thing, little thing. But would you believe it? The day they turned the lights out was the day that the company was in the middle of a huge meeting with important people. Okay. Now, that fella got an opportunity. We don't fire people. We give them an opportunity for greatness elsewhere.
I like that.
That was one of Reverend. I worked for Reverend Ike as a manager of the church in New York and the head of the Science of Living Institute. And he always found a positive way to say everything. And that's how he fired people. He'd say, "Bob, I'm going to give you an opportunity for greatness elsewhere." And the person felt so good about it, they didn't realize they were fired until they didn't get a check.
Exactly. Well, with procrastination, another thing I think when we justify our procrastination or our delayed focus on things, we will sometimes argue that we work better under pressure. So what is your take on that? The excuse of the procrastinator working better under pressure?
I think that's a real a deception, a personal deception, because nobody really works best under stress. When you put your back against the wall, what happens is your options are limited. And so when your options are limited, you have to survive. But wow, wouldn't it have been better to have not put yourself in that position where the only option you have is to win or die? Wouldn't it have been better to just win last month when it was much easier? And so I think that's an illusion that people give themselves trying to justify procrastination. Because what you'll find is that there'll always come that time when you cut it too short. When you can't, one more blow and you could have made it, but the time runs out. It's like a person, and you ever watch the long distance, like the 800-kilometer races, and you have to pace yourself. And so the person who wins is the person who paces themselves. They stay close enough to the front, but they also know that last portion, that last lap, that last 100 yards, they have to be close enough to the front, plus have enough energy left to give that final kick. Very few people are successful at long-distance runners because they'll procrastinate making their move. And for great reasons. I don't want to run out of steam. I don't want to get there in the final stretch and not have anything left. And so very often those who put it off, they'll do it until that one time comes when that procrastination will cost them dearly. See, procrastination is expensive. And you keep putting yourself under that kind of pressure, there will come a time when it won't happen. And that's when the lesson becomes also true. That's what cured me. Okay? One of those times when I put it off, and then when it was showtime, I was not ready, and it cost me dearly. So that's an illusion, an excuse that people give themselves to justify procrastination because they have not handled the problem. And they're not even facing it. They're actually reframing it like it's a good thing, and it definitely is not.
Some of the listeners are probably ready to get beyond the excuses and really find a way to tackle and destroy their procrastination. For people who are listening and they're ready right now to do something immediately, but realistically, to try to, destroy their procrastination? What are some tips you'll be willing to share today?
Well, it's interesting. We cover a lot of that in our book. We do a whole section on procrastination. Our book is the 12 Universal Laws of Success. And one of the first things that will cure you of procrastination is to recognize it for what it is. That procrastination is an enemy of success. Procrastination, and you permit procrastination to come into your life. So that's the key thing. One, to recognize it as an enemy of success, and two, to recognize that you permit it to happen. In other words, you actually choose procrastination. Now, most people would say, I didn't choose to procrastinate, but life is like a river. It never stands still. And so if you don't act, if you choose not to take action, then the river is moving. Things have changed. And so it's just like it is procrastination. The other thing is that to recognize it, that once you permit it, that it costs you. Go back over your life and look at those times where you procrastinated and, the lights got turned off, you missed an opportunity, and look at how you justified it. Many times you go back and say, well, that was not for me. Many times you have people, and a friend of mine had auditioned for The Voice. And I was telling him, I said, study The Voice, study the process, study how that whole selection process goes down, and then do what it takes to be successful. And he procrastinated and he procrastinated. And the interesting thing was he got just close enough that if he had put in a little more advanced planning, if he had seen exactly what they look for, he could have been successful. And I'll tell you this: next year, I guarantee you, he's going to be on. But that when you look at what procrastination has cost you, then that next step is to have a do it now attitude. It's like whatever it is, you have that thing. It's like when you open your mail. Very often people say they open the mail and they sort it into different piles. That could be subtle procrastination, because now you have the piles there, but nothing has happened. They're neatly lined up, but you haven't responded. And so that do it now attitude is to look at the things that come into your space and the things that you can do right away. If all it requires is a check, write the check. Okay. If all it requires is a call, make the call. So the things that you can do, you might say, when we talk about goals, we often talk of the three types of goals: immediate goals, intermediate goals, and long-term goals. When you see things that can be handled with immediate action, immediate goals, handle them right away. There's some other things we can share as we go along, ways to combat procrastination, but I'd say those are like the foundation. That'll give you a good start in overcoming procrastination.
Definitely. You mentioned your books that you've written, as well as some of the seminars and workshops that you lead. Tell listeners a little bit about how they can tap into that. Give us some insight on what your workshops and books are all about.
Well, right now we're doing a master class, and we'll be starting another one at the beginning of the year based on the 12 Universal Laws of Success. Our book has been, we've gone through about 60 printings. It's been translated into 8 languages, and we've sold well over 800,000 copies in around the world. And we have a new edition coming, the Super Achiever edition. And what we're doing with that, a lot of people have taken the book and have written great testimonials on how it has helped them. And so we've incorporated statements from the super achievers in the book. At the end of each chapter, you'll have people saying how the book helped them, how their lives were turned around, and a little information about what they're doing now. And so that's this new Super Achiever edition is in pre-publication. It'll be out in the next, it'll be on the street in the next 7 days. We've been putting it all together. So that's one of the projects we've been promoting. Our website, www.dr-herbert-harris.com, tells a lot about what we're doing. You can see it's a part of our company website. Our company website is the Life Skill Institute. And our overall philosophy is that living is a skill and that you can master it.